I would still choose XPR over Bitcoin as of right now, and here are the reasons why, even though nothing I say is financial advice. First of all, the hypothetical upside is something I want to focus on because, for instance, people like to say, oh, Bitcoin's amazing. I get that. Look at how well it's done. However, let's say Bitcoin, even despite the small pullback, right, went to the price of 300 grand. That's still less than a 3x from here. However, on the flip side, if I take a look at XPR, let's say it went to the price of 25 cents. At that point, that's around a 37x from here. Considering current circulating supply, market cap at that point would actually be around $7 billion. So I don't even find that too unrealistic. And also, we take a look at XRP, not too long ago, market cap was around 200 billion. So this is like not even 5% of that. Again, around a $7 billion market cap. So I don't find that too outlandish, at least in my perspective. So if someone said to me, Bitcoin or XPR, I'm totally aware that when it comes to Bitcoin, it has the fans, it has the reputation, but if I'm entering into Bitcoin right now, I just don't know why I would find that too exciting. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, by the way, when it comes to Bitcoin, but even if, let's say, what is more likely to do even over a 10x, let's say, in the next 6 months, Bitcoin or XPR? I just have a very difficult time believing that Bitcoin could arguably do a 10x from where it is as of right now in the next 6 months. This is just my perspective. The price is already above 100 grand. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't find that as something too feasible for this cycle. Now, I'm not saying 10 years later, but I'm saying, let's say in the next 6 months, XPR would have to be the choice for me when compared to that. I don't only hold XPR, by the way, but then at the same time, if I only had two options, XPR or Bitcoin, I'm going to have to say XPR, personally, in my perspective, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. And also, people like to say that, oh, XPR is kind of useless. Well, I disagree with that because the XPR network is a proof-of-stake layer 1 blockchain, and arguably, XPR is heavily focused on payments and global trade and finance, which conveniently, by the way, Ripple and Stellar is also focused on. Now, if we take a look at Ripple, and then we say, hey, take a look at XRP, the XPR letters, like the same 3 letters that XPR has, is literally the same 3 letters that XRP has. So it's kind of the whole vibe that's going on here, and I kind of do like that because the payments market is currently valued at over $2 trillion, and the global trade and finance market is predicted to reach up to $5 trillion in value by 2028, according to Mordor Intelligence. So it's not such a bad thing, I think, to be arguably focused on. And some people like to say, oh, you know, XPR, it's kind of boring and all this type of stuff. However, I think that from the performance we've seen with XPR, with ZBCN, XCN, XDC, and Swiftcoin, I think from those, you know, kind of famous competitors beyond XRP and XLM, we've kind of seen how there has at least been some attention for them, right? And this is, keep in mind, without really a fully fledged type of altcoin season. So I think from that trend or that pattern, I think it kind of indicates that there seems to be a little bit of a demand for projects that are kind of similar to Ripple and Stellar, but with a lower market cap. Because let's say I want to believe in projects that are focused on payments, or let's say global trade and finance, but then I don't necessarily maybe in a make-believe scenario want to believe in XRP and XLM, which the market cap is already too massive. At that point, I may be looking at other alternatives. But then the crazy thing is this, there isn't that many that are reputable. Again, there's XPR, ZBCN, XCN, XDC, Swiftcoin. That's arguably 5 beyond XRP and XLM that a lot of people do know. That's not that many in my opinion. So I do like XPR's positioning. I like the community. I think the exchange listings are not that bad, which is why I'm staying patient, dollar cost averaging, holding, and just waiting. And whenever that next leg up does happen, even though arguably we kind of already saw a pretty awesome recovery when it comes to XPR, I think that we haven't really seen that type of 2021 type of altcoin season arguably yet for this cycle, I think. So then, whenever that does decide to happen, I want to be prepared by just holding and just waiting, and that's pretty much it. It's going to happen when it wants to. I have no control over that if it ever even does, which is why the only thing I can control is staying patient, and that's it. And when I take a look at something like Bitcoin, it's kind of boring to me right now, which is why XPR is going to be my choice right here. And even though I do not know the future, historically speaking, altcoins, they typically peak around 18 months after a Bitcoin halving event as a worst case scenario. And the last Bitcoin halving event happened in April of last year. So we had 18 months on top of that. That's around October this year. Now, is that a guaranteed date? Absolutely Probably not, because who knows, in my opinion. Each cycle may be different. However, at the same time, if it, let's say, happens December or Q1 of next year, I still don't really mind anyways, because I've been waiting for quite a while anyways. So what is waiting another, maybe arguably worst case, 6 months from right now or something like that? That really wouldn't find, or should I say, let me correct myself there, I wouldn't find that too disappointing in my case. And when I take a look at XPR again, it may not necessarily be the most famous project out there, but I like the kind of market sectors it's focused on, and also at the same time, I do like its kind of positioning, because keep in mind, the XPR network allegedly provides an alternative to traditional payment systems like ACH and SWIFT or Visa and MasterCard through an innovative resource model. So I find that pretty interesting. And again, we've already kind of, went over the whole vibe of like, global trade and finance and the payments market. So I kind of like it. And again, when a project is allegedly providing an alternative to traditional payment systems like ACH, SWIFT, or Visa and MasterCard, that's some very impressive names right there. So I think they have their priorities in the right area. I like projects that are focused on payments and global trade and finance, and all I can do right now is stay patient. So that's what I'm going to do. But again, ultimately speaking, if I was given two options, right, Bitcoin or XPR in this situation is going to have to be the winner here for me, even though nothing I say is financial advice, and even though I'm not telling you to do anything. And feel free to subscribe if you enjoyed this video. I would greatly appreciate it. It's only the Captain, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.